Sup Shredders, my name is Logan, aka Spiderhands, and welcome to an SPRX, where today we got ourselves a cover of a song from J. Cole, the song titled Be Free. This is a Dru Hepkins cover, and if we switch over to here, we got ourselves a track on YouTube there, the official music video for this. We're gonna listen through this track from start till finish, and we're gonna hear what we think. Let's do it, let's go, what do we got?
I'm in the now, and it don't take no x-ray to see right through my smile. Yeah, I know I'll be on the go, and it ain't no drink out there that could numb my soul. Oh no, and all we wanna do is take the chains off. All we wanna do is break the chains off. All we wanna do is be free. All we wanna do is be free. All we wanna do is take the chains off. All we wanna do is break the chains off. And all we wanna do is be free. 'Cause all we wanna do is be free. Can you tell me why?
Great vocal fry.
Every time I step outside, I see my people die. I'm letting you know that there ain't no gun they make that can kill my soul. Oh no. All we wanna do is take the chains off. All we wanna do is break the chains off. All we wanna do is be free. All we wanna do is be free. Yeah. All we wanna do is take the chains off. All we wanna do is break the chains off. All we wanna do is be free. All we wanna do is be free. Sometimes I felt my God above was like an absent father. 'Cause I've been praying till the day I said, why should I bother? Kinda hard to think a God would watch the slaughter and ignore the calls out from your people trying to speak to you. I think I oughta apologize for that. I'm sorry, I'm just venting all this tension getting hot. My God, we need you now. I see you living me. It's time for action. We got no time for relaxing. All this hate directed at us. Can you hear me? Where you at? Are we alone? Are we alone? Just fighting on our own. Please give me a chance. No, I don't wanna dance. 'Cause something's got me down. I will stand my ground. Don't just stand around. Don't just stand around. 'Cause all we wanna do is take the chains off. All we wanna do is take the chains off. All we wanna do is be free.
Fantastic dynamic range at the end. Well done. Going right down with those vocals. Sorry, what was that? There was chains came off at the end. Nice. We're going to talk about this track more though in the conclusion. Because welcome to the conclusion of my review of this cover of a song by J. Cole, Be Free. This cover performed by Dru Hepkins. In this section, I'm going to provide an overall song analysis of everything from lyrics and vocals all the way through studio production, as well as any applicable constructive critique, and then finally my general thoughts from a listener's perspective. But before we go any further, what do we think this track is about? I think this track is about the unfair racial discrimination and prejudice towards African American people in places like the States. It's about not wanting to have the chains on us anymore, us wanting to be free of these chains, to not have to worry about the shootings that occur, the horrific stuff that is said, and all the kind of like the vitriol that's slung about the place and everything, the discrimination and all that. And I think in this day and age, with what's going on in the world at the moment, that's more relevant now more than ever. I can completely understand why we're making music like this, and I'm sorry to hear that, you know, Dru Hepkins, J. Cole, and other people are going through that. I think that it's music that will mean things to people, that will be impactful for them, and I'm glad that the song exists, even though I'm sorry to hear that they are going through this. I feel there's an interesting line in the verse, which, if I'm not mistaken, I think was Dru Hepkins' verse, the rap section later on. I could be mistaken, but just how we were like standing by and looking at it or something along those lines. I could be misinterpreting it or misremembering it, but it's just, you know, it's very easy to sort of be on the sidelines of these kind of things, and we're saying here it's important to kind of get involved and sort of like do what you can, I suppose. It's just sort of navigating the nuance of that. You know, all these emotions put forward, but I think by the chains coming off at the end, Dru Hepkins feels like they've spoken out about it, which they have, so that makes sense. I just thought that was an interesting little bit of symbolism at the end. The vocals in this track are fantastic. I liked the way that we handled our softer elements there at the quieter part of our vocal range. We're very comfortable in her head and chest voice here. The vocal fry that displays, I think correctly, the pain and anguish that we're going through within this makes total sense as well. And the rapped elements as well were nice and tight as well. We had a good sort of rhythm and cadence. The words came through clearly. And I think as well, when we had the different vocal parts and different sides as well kind of going off across each other, I think that was also done quite well. There was just like enough going around throughout the piece to sort of really kind of absorb and navigate things. And I'm thankful for the fact that we, allowed for that variety of vocal styles and interpretations in a piece, despite it being quite short, within that 2 to 4 minute sweet spot. So with a really competent vocal performance out of the way, effectively we also have the instrumental components there. We start with the keys there, and I like the extensions there. The minor leaning indicates a sense of sadness there, the nuance being the extra information we're about to provide there. And there's this sort of a jazzy lo-fi articulation to it, which I think suits the mood of what's been discussed really well. I thought the kind of guitar line that we had as well there around the 15-20 second mark, the minimalism of it was also kind of nice there, an additional tone of texture within the piece. I think we're potentially also using the back of our acoustic guitar and kind of tapping at it for a kind of percussive device, almost like a cajon or something along those lines, which is an interesting thing. I feel like maybe a full drum kit might have been a bit too much for a song like this, so going for that more acoustic take I think is a sensible move. And that kind of sentiment, that kind of setup continues throughout a lot of it. We also have some background vocals in the upper range, and apparently my understanding is that Dru Hepkins has done all of these parts, which is actually incredible. I'm really sort of impressed by that. It's difficult to be able to handle all that because they're on different ranges and everything like that, so it's just great layering in that regard, and knowing to be in different pitches is really important. And I like the fact that we don't just pick certain notes, we sort of fingerstyle some chords as well that go alongside what's going on with the chord progressions on the keys, with some unison notes in there and some interesting rhythms on the onbeats and syncopators, with the drums being relatively minimalist in that regard. A lot of the rhythm and the kind of speed actually comes from mostly the kind of arpeggiated piano parts as well as some of the guitar bits. And then in that rap section there, it's more rhythm oriented with the vocals, so the keys slow down a little bit, the guitars, etc. as well, they allow room for that. So it's just good sort of like equilibrium found between the lead and the instrumental passages. And I think there's nice twinkling, for example, around the 2:30 part there, where you have the keys kind of flutter about on that right hand. You have the da-da-da-da, the kind of bouncing around there, a bit of a tail to the guitar line. And you can tell that even at that late stage, we're not taking the listener's attention for granted. We're trying to continue to include more. I think we might even have some like organs or something around that 1:57 2-minute mark or something along those lines, for a bit like kind of push or something like that, which I kind of appreciate. I think that's a kind of a neat little move there, a bit of drive and grit to it for the bit of push we need. But yeah, there's wonderful articulations of the keys there. We're kind of doing call and responses, or we kind of work within the harmonies of the vocals as well in the upper range there, and it's beautiful. Some other sort of grace notes there on the keys as well. They're exploring the chords well as some additional notes outside of them just to sort of spice things up, which is cool. And with all that in mind, thematically, in reality, it's quite a simple theme, like main sort of like chord progression. I mean, there's a couple of them throughout the piece there, and they're not complicated in terms of like the actual chords themselves. It's more the extra elements we add vocally, or with the guitar parts, how they sort of decorated, or the piano parts, etc. on the right hand there. It's more like, again, the story is adding the nuance. It's like palatable and accessible enough that people who are just simply wanting a more sort of like easy to listen through chord progression can kind of handle it as well, with a lack of aggression with the drums and stuff like that being on acoustic guitar, for example. But there's more sophistication there if you kind of allow yourself to get lost within it and sort of like let the music soak over you. I think the magic of this track is more about the interpretations of things. Like, I'm also just noticing in replay value, there's a with like the organ behind the rapped part in that later verse section. It's less about the mood of the chords and the theme kind of expressing things, rather it's more the intent of the instruments and how they appear. and how they allow the vocals to flourish. And it's just great how tight things are instrumentally in terms of the performance until we get to that part where we just say, don't just stand around there. We come to a close and there's this wispiness there. We're left with a relative minimalism in terms of the layers there to kind of cater us out. But all we need is to listen to those messages one more time as we go quiet. It's very well written. Studio recording, mixing, and mastering is tight as well for the most part. I think the leveling in general is good. I probably need to listen to it to kind of like clarify things. There's a lot of dynamic range from like a composition as well as a production perspective, which I appreciate. Sometimes if you sort of choke things too much, it makes everything sound a bit sort of samey here. I'm glad that Dru Hepkins has allowed there to be breathing room in that regard. I think the keys are nicely spread around the stereo field there. They've got a nice sort of twinkly tone there without too much low end. I like the sound of that kind of doof on the back of the acoustic guitar for the kick as well. It's got a nice sort of thud to it there. And with a lack of like low end resonance there with the bass parts, it's nice to allow the left hand of the piano to kind of form that but not be too aggressive with it. It just allows the bass of the guitar to be punchy with a tap being a nice sort of click short snare substitute. And again, you have the back and forth with the kind of organ parts and the rap section, which is from a piano perspective is kind of neat. There's no wide resonant frequencies in the frequency spectrum. Stuff's quite well balanced there. And again, music surrounds you in a stereo field and it's nice and loud bit of pumping because the side chaining of like the kind of, again, the hits on the back of the guitar, bass compression, limiting is handled. I do like the way that the vocals are filtered around the place. I don't feel like they're overproduced. There's a bit of compression and reverb and cueing on them, but we're not needing to fix a vocal performance. They can just clearly sing. So there's no real applicable constructive critique in regard to this. I feel like this is just a wonderful organic cover of a song which they're clearly passionate about and which has a really important message. From a final general listener's perspective, again, I think that they approached their own sort of like interpretation of this piece in a way which was personable and personal to them. And I think in this day and age, we need more people if they're going to cover music trying to make their own version of it, you know, putting their own verse into it like they have, which I thought was really neat. Not trying to be the other artist, but being themselves, but also paying homage to where the inspiration came from, I suppose. Ultimately, though, it was great to listen to this music. I wish you were involved all the best in future with the musical endeavors, because thank you for watching my review of this track. This originally from J. Cole with Title Be Free. This is the Dru Hepkins cover. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do go show them some love via their various social medias and their YouTube page, and stay cool and stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they need to help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world. And I'll catch you in the next SB Reacts. Spiderhands out.